G'day folks, Ben from Snowy's here today. This is the Brass Monkey 50 litre dual zone fridge freezer. This is a really affordable dual zone fridge freezer, perfect for the budget conscious or occasional users that even comes equipped with Bluetooth capability. Now, this guy weighs in at about 15.5 kilos, and dimension wise, if we go from the end of the handle here to the end of the handle, it's about 72 centimeters. This way, about 36 centimeters and about 45, 46 centimeters in height to this point here. If you were to take these handles off, I mean, they're not readily available to remove, but there are screws there. If you wanted to add a bit more space, take that off. You can add about 5 centimeters, but you have still got these feet that stick out on the end here. It's made of a combination of polypropylene and ABS plastics, which are basically just a tough plastic. So the lid, all the sides, all of this is all a plastic. There's no steel in how it's made up. And we'll do a bit of a tour around the outside, starting from the front here. Not much to see. There's a vent down here where the compressor sits, little handle at the top here, which is where you grab it to open the lid. We'll jump around to the back here first. Another handle, just a single handle there that's pivots. Now these handles, they're not really flimsy. One of the things with Brass Monkey, you might be thinking, why are they so affordable? This handle's certainly not as tough as some of the handles you'll get on many fridges. Use it as a tie down, but it certainly doesn't feel like you'd want to ratchet that down too firmly. Not much more to see there, but we have got legs or wheels at the bottom here. And you can see that's just a bar that's just clipped in under there. So good for flat ground. I wouldn't say you'd want to wheel that over really rugged ground too much, but the wheels themselves they're sort of rubbery. They're not plastic. They feel pretty durable, pretty simple sort of makeup there on the wheels. On the back, the same as the other side, just a vent where the compressor is. Not much to see there. Coming back around to this end here, 12 and 24 volt input there, but you do get a transformer, so you can run it off a 240 volt, which we'll show you shortly. And then the handle above that, it's kind of got this little magnet, so you can fold this up and latch that up there and use this to sort of lift it up when you're using it in conjunction with the handle at the other ends. Same sort of construction, not really durable, but this extended handle here is there so that you can use it with the wheel, so that if this is on the ground, this is a slightly longer handle that you can wheel it with. Once again, functional, but I wouldn't say they're super durable handles when we're comparing it to other fridges in the market, but it's certainly going to do the job. So then above that, we've got the control panel, which we'll go into a bit more shortly. I'm just going to spin it around, and before I go into the lid, I just want to mention one other magnet that's in these handles that features up underneath here. So that's obviously a magnetic material. The magnet features either here or in the body, and when that folds down, it just sits secure against the body of the fridge, so that if it's bouncing around in the car, this isn't tapping. It actually sits against the body there and doesn't flap around. Now the lid, this is another spot where probably you're getting some simple sort of design with the Brass Monkey fridges, hence the lesser price. So this lid is quite simplified. There's no latch under here that you sort of push in to release it. You've just got to pull the lid up. So I guess over a good bump on the road, that could potentially pop open, but it does feel pretty firm. It might get looser and looser as you go, but if I just try and lift that up now, I can actually lift the whole fridge. I need to give it a bit of a wiggle to undo it. And it's just this little notch on the end here that then sits inside the indent that features in here, and that's what holds it in place. As for the hinge at the back, once again, a little bit simplified. You can't reverse these lids. I can't really see what's in there. I think it's just a plastic notch there, and there's nothing to stop. Well, the only thing stopping the lid from rolling backwards is the body of the fridge here. So it doesn't feel like, actually I can see there is a plastic notch in there, so they are just plastic bits in there. So I wouldn't want to maybe leave that open too much or push back on it. Probably ideally, I feel like I'd probably want to actually have it open up against something there just to support the lid and not rely on its own weight while it's sitting back there, because it feels like over time something's probably going to give. But it's just one of the small trade-offs, I suppose, when you're getting such a good value fridge. Now the lid and insulation, it has probably sort of 4 or 5 centimeters of insulation throughout, the refrigeration grade insulation inside. Once again, it's probably another point where things have maybe just been simplified a bit with the quality of the insulation inside here to get a cheaper fridge. But it's still going to do the job really well. The fridge has got a seal that runs around here, and that sits on top of a little ridge that runs around the top of the fridge here. So it does seal in this compartment pretty well. Now moving to total dimensions inside, it's 50 litres of capacity in here, about 55 centimetres from end to end, 27 centimetres in depth, or from front to back this way. Depth-wise, at the deepest point here, about 37 centimeters up to this edge here. So a little bit less by the time you consider that the fridge dips down in some spots, and about 20 centimeters from here to here, and same deal, that does dip down a little bit. With a divider in the middle, it's 23 centimeters from here to here and 29 centimeters, or just less than 29 centimeters from here to here. So you've got two compartments, and this divider is removable, so you can use it as single zone or dual zone. We'll go into a bit more detail on that shortly. This is just a lightweight divider. It does have, you can feel it's full of insulation, and it just has this slot. So this slot here lines up with this slot here to keep it in place while it's in the fridge. In terms of height, there's 37 centimeters at the deep end there, so you can very easily fit, there's a milk bottle, champagne bottle, and I'll just reach across and grab 1.25 litre Coke bottle there. Definitely fits bottles height-wise. No problems at all. One other thing inside is the bung that features on the bottom here. I can pull that out, so if you need to clean it out, you can rinse it out inside and all the water will run out of the bottom. And then on the front here in the middle, there is an LED light, which we might see if we can show you when we power it up in a second. So it kind of goes into both compartments. So if you do have that in place, you've got light on both sides. Now, one really important thing to note, as you'll notice in here, there are no baskets inside. So that means things are going to be bouncing around directly on top of the plastic lining inside the fridge here. So if you've got a heavy bottle like this on a four-wheel drive track and that's bouncing up and down, most fridges that have a basket inside, it's got that basket to kind of take the brunt of this hitting the bottom or rubbing on the bottom. This is going to be rubbing directly on the bottom of the fridge there. So probably one consideration with the cost saving you get with a Brass Monkey fridge is you might want to line the bottom or something just to mitigate the damage that might occur by heavy items on the bottom of the fridge, because there are no other baskets to buy to go inside. Whereas if you spend a little bit more on some fridges, you'll get baskets to go inside, and that gives a bit of protection against the elements or the cooling elements or the lining inside the fridge. Moving on to the power options that come with the fridge, you do get this little box here, and inside you'll get your user manual, lots of details in there. You get 12 volt cable here with a plug on the end that you can take off to become a merit plug, and you get a 240 volt transformer. So this will plug straight into the same port as the 12 and 24 volt plug here. So you need to actually have this transformer to run it off your 240 volt plug at home. Now I'm going to spin it around. While we're down here though, I just want to lift this up and show you the bottom of the fridge, because we haven't looked there, because there's no significant mounting points or anything under here for to mount it to a fridge slide or anything. So you've just got these rubber feet here. So once again, you probably want to have this mounted on a surface that this isn't going to cause too much damage for. So nice flat surface in the back of your car. Let's plug it in and power it up. Now it beeps when you plug it into the power, and this does remember the last setting you had it on. So if I already had this on when I powered it off before, this would automatically turn on. I had it off obviously, so it's stayed in the off mode when I plugged it in. Now before I turn it on, I just want to show you that there is a little USB output here, so you can charge your mobile phones or electronic devices from the bottom of the control panel there. And this is all a touch screen here, so to turn this on, and I'm just going to open up the lids before I do that, because I want to show you some of the functions around the divider here. And we can see now that there is power going into the fridge, even with the control panel off, this light has lit up so we can see what's going on inside the fridge there. Back to the control panel, turning it on, we just put our finger over there, just lightly over the control or the power button, sorry, for 3 seconds, and the fridge powers up, showing the internal temperature for both compartments as 18 degrees and 19 degrees is the sensor that's picking up inside there, and a few other things going on. It's a bit of a tour around. It does have a Bluetooth function, so all the features that I'm going to show you on this here, you can connect this to a Bluetooth app on your phone and control it all from your phone as well. The user manual tells you how to do that. Below that, battery monitor, so that's obviously showing full power because we've got it plugged into 240 volt at the moment. And it's showing 14.4 volts is being picked up at the input port of the power into the fridge down below the control panel here. Below that is our max and eco settings. So if we move down to the settings button here and press that once, the max mode starts to flash. If we press it again, it goes between eco and max. So max means the compressor is going to run at full capacity and cool the fridge much quicker, but it's going to draw much more power. Probably best leaving it in eco mode, particularly when the temperature has reached the point at which you want it. If we hold down or just keep our finger over the settings button for 3 seconds, it then goes to this little H, L and M signs, symbols here. That's the battery protection mode, and the user manual will give you more information on what these mean, but basically it's a different setting as to which the fridge will cut out on when your battery starts to go flat, so it protects the battery. There's a few little things to note on how the fridge sort of operates. Firstly, you take note of the fact that this side here is kind of a square compartment. There's no sort of edge in it, and this side's a bit of an upside down L compartment, and that's reflected on the control panel here. So the square compartment here, or square symbol here, indicates the far compartment. The little L compartment here indicates the one that's closest to the control panel here. Now, you can change but the temperature of both of these with little up and down buttons here. So that's now showing the set temperature. So it's set at -10. Once it stops flashing, it goes back to the internal temperature. Same with the deal up here, up and down. I'm going to set that at 5 degrees. So it's at 5 degrees as the target. It flashes and it goes back to 16 degrees. Now, to use it as a single zone fridge, if you remove this divider here, this compartment at this end immediately shuts down. So we see there's nothing on there now. So the whole fridge is being cooled by the far compartment at the far end of the fridge here. So this cooling element here is what is doing the work for the whole fridge. This one is not working. If we put that back in, this side fires up again. So now we've got the whole fridge operating. Now, important thing to notice that you can actually turn the square compartment or the far compartment off. If we hold down on the plus and minus button, this will now shut down. So we've got no temperature on there at all. Now, something to note here, that if we take this out, now that we've got that side shut down, the fridge is turned off. You can't hear that at the moment, but the compressor is actually turned off, because by taking this divider out, we're telling the fridge to cool from this end here, that this is the end that we've turned off. So if you turn your fridge on and you've left this compartment off and you go to put this in and you think, what's going on? You need to turn this one back on again in order for the fridge to start. So it does explain this in the user manual, just one little thing that's worth noting. Now, the other thing to note is that if you want to use it as a fridge and a freezer, you're going to need to use this end as the freezer, because this side can never be a lesser temperature than this side here. So I've got this set at 5 degrees at the moment, and this set at -10. So I'll give you an example. If I set this to 0 degrees, now this is the L compartment, so the one at this end here. Now, if I now want to use this end as the freezer, remembering I set the other one at 0 degrees, it won't let me go any cooler than this end here. So the freezer end has to be this end of the freezer here. In terms of using the whole thing as a freezer, I'm not sure how it would go by just relying on the cooling elements at this side to freeze the entire fridge. Now, I just want to touch on the compressor a little bit, because this is possibly, or it would be, one area where Brass Monkey have been able to keep the prices down on these fridges, because they are a really affordable fridge. It's not a well-known brand of compressor that we're seeing a lot of higher end or more expensive fridges. And the one thing I notice is that it does sound quite noisy in comparison to a lot of other fridges. I can hear a constant whirring in there now. Maybe the fan as well is making a bit of noise. So I would say it's probably noisier than other fridges in the market. Not offensively loud though, just a slightly louder noise. And they say the current draw, the power draw, is about 0.2 kilowatt hours over 24 hours, which if you work that backwards, I think is around about 0.7 amps per hour, which is still in line with what most fridges will draw. But obviously that's very dependent on the conditions you're using it in. So maybe the insulation grade inside isn't as good as some other fridges, so you might find it draws a little bit more power. It's highly likely it's going to draw more power in certain conditions than a higher end fridge. Now, there are some accessories you can get for your Brass Monkey fridge. They make their own slides, and they do also have a cover for it as well. Not a super thick cover, but it's certainly going to do the job, offer a bit of protection for the fridge, and you get a bit of extra storage on the side there as well. So I'd say that's probably a good addition to a Brass Monkey fridge, to make sure that the insulation is going to give you, or it's going to give that bit of extra insulation. Look, these fridges are a really affordable option. I don't like to use the word cheap, because I wouldn't say they're cheap. They're worth every dollar that you pay for them. And I would say for those who are occasional users, maybe a fridge that you want for getting around the city, or if you're doing predominantly road trips on the blacktop, on highways and things, this is probably going to suit you really well. Unless you're a regular user or you're looking for a fridge that's going to survive a lot of really corrugated or bumpy roads, this is probably going to suit you, and it comes at a really friendly price tag. So check these out online at snowies.com.au where you find them at our best prices every day. But if you do have any questions, let us know down in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel for all of our latest and greatest information, or check out some other fridges that we have, like these ones down here.